Hi. What it do, what it do, what is Gucci, what is new? What is new? I'm gonna show you what's new, right? Meow. New to me. Old to we, because these are second hand. 1, 2, second hand. Yeah, so guys, ladies, gentlemen, friends, family, frenemies, enemies, y'all are welcome. Welcome. Now, what are we discussing? We're discussing some new books that I have bought. $2 haulers from the good old Goodwill. Yes. Yes. I've got a stack here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Oh, wow. I don't know if I just messed up my whole video. Anyways, got a whole stack here. Got a Fantastack. Fantastack. So, yeah. My name is Jack Attack. Holler back. Ay. Well, crazy. I wanted to show you guys. I love the Goodwill. Some people want to be buried next to 2 hoes or 2 beaches or under the Gucci store or the Louis store. I want to be buried under the bookstore, probably the half price books. Yeah, to be honest. Right now, I want to show you what I got. You know, when you go into these stores, a lot of times you go in with ideas and you come out with other things. Because secondhand is secondhand. They're not necessarily going to have the exact cover that you're looking for. Now, but again, with the amount of books that I like to be surrounded by and read, Exhibit A, Exhibit B, now Exhibit C, I can always find something. I can always find something. Why? Because I'm a book lover. And as we know, book lovers, the definition of a book lover, from my understanding, is one who has more books than they can currently read. Right? One who has not read all of their books. Generally. I mean, that's not true for everyone. Some people have books they don't read because they don't like to read. But a book lover reads their books and always has more to read in their library. Yes. So, I've been really actually quite interested in philosophy books these days, which I didn't really get much of that. And I've also been extremely interested in pretty much every topic. However, science, anything that has to do with science, I have been reading. My book stack that I'm reading, will go through that another time. However, one book that might surprise you that I have been reading, for my A1 since day ones who know me quite interestingly, decently well, I usually am reading something spiritual or scientific, and for once in my life, I'm actually reading The Hobbit, which, The Hobbit, as you guys know, J.R.R. Tolkien, is an epic adventure based on war and resources, which is actually quite up my alley anyways. It's not up my alley to read fiction books. However, I thought this was quite an interesting read, just because I'm obsessed with many things. One of them being how society is set up. You know, I wish I wasn't obsessed with this topic. It's quite a burden. As one probably understands, even if you do have all the luxuries in life, you can just peer through a window and see how other people are living. It's quite heartbreaking. Yeah, and so resource wars, society, how society's set up. This is like resource wars, right? They're going to find treasure, resources, the dragon smog, the smog of industrial complex, the industrial systems that we live upon currently. Yeah, all of these things are very heavy on my heart, my mind, my soul. To the point where I need to just start talking again about all of these things, because I need to attract people that can help me actually reset up society. Yeah, so if y'all know anyone who wants to help me build SON, my symbiotic abundance network, please. My email is in the links, okay? gracious.guidance@gmail.com. Make sure you double check how gracious is spelled. It's spelled the Latin way, Roman Latin. It's actually pronounced gratias in Roman Latin, so it's easier to spell if you pronounce it that way. Now, back to the 6-7 stack that Jack brought back. So, where do we begin? We'll start with what I first picked up and thought was interesting, which was biosensors and bioelectronics. Now you might be confused. You might be wondering, what are you doing with that book there? Well, I do find that anything that has to do with bio and tech, life force, and technology, because this is the nexus that we're at. We have crossed this nexus. We are there. Is quite useful and quite interesting, because we are actually behind in society, which is again why we need to reset up society to be up to speed. But essentially, guys, the nexus of life force and technology, or material mixing with life force, robotics, blah blah blah, what have you, is a thing. It has been a thing, it will always be a thing. Creating things that actually are a mix between life force and technology. Now, this is just like the little tip of the iceberg, little seedlings of interface, the interface of biotech, right? This is the very beginning, just the smallest sand in the sandbox. But yeah, that's why I picked it up, because I just found that this would be quite an interesting read and a nice nexus of my interests as well. Basically, technology and biometrics and how those combine. Yeah, so I'm really excited about this. Biotechnology is way more advanced right now than this book will ever be. But still, you got to start somewhere, and this is a great beginner read for that. Not necessarily an easy read, but a good beginner read. Next, I went for the Book of Lies, which essentially, if I see an author that I know, like Love Trust, who's currently in the dust, he's 6 feet under, I will just pick it up. These were $2 haulers, guys. So it's not like I'm breaking the bank over here, even though the bank's not large. The bank is small. The bank is miniature. It's non-existent. Anywho, yeah, so The Book of Lies by Aleister Crowley. He's an occult writer, and one that I absolutely love, so I'm excited for this. It looks like quite an easy read. Not really even sure what it's about. It was mainly just the name of the author, and I was like, yeah, that has my name on it. written differently. The Book of Lies. Very excited for this. Ooh, yeah. Ooh, about paradoxes. Y'all, if you my A1s since day ones, my A1s, they know I live in the paradox. I swim, dive, love the paradox. So, book paradoxes, occult sciences, absolutely. This is a yes in my book, in my library, my laboratory. Next, these were all near and dear on the same shelf here. Washington Irving's The Legend of Sleepy Hollow and Other Writings, which I had no idea. Sleepy Hollow is one of my favorite movies, and I had no idea that Sleepy Hollow is such a small... The Legend of Sleepy Hollow, it's not even a full book, it's just this little tiny part in the back here. This little part is The Legend of Sleepy Hollow, and then there's all these other writings from the same author. So I was like, you know what? Since my boy, World War I buddy, Tolkien here, he was in World War I. This is another reason why I was like, you know what, I'm gonna crack this open. Don't usually listen, watch, whatever, you know, fiction. However, I just thought it was so interesting how he wrote this midlife, one of the largest epics, you know, that we have. He wrote this midlife after going and surviving World War I. So now that I'm on my fiction train, I was like, you know what? Let's grab another fiction. Fiction here, fiction there, fiction everywhere. Yes, very excited for this. So, yeah, little multiple stories and stuff in here. Very good. Near and dear on the same shelf here, we had The Prince and Other Works by Machiavelli. I already have The Prince. However, why did I need this copy? Well, for one, it was a $2 hauler. I really love the print. And there's a little wear and tear. It's a little damaged. Could we say loved? Is it loved? It has other writings and other works in here. So I was like, you know, I probably need that. I probably do. So here it is. Yeah, sometimes you just pick up a book and it just speaks to you. So now I have 2 of the Princes, but one has additional works by Machiavelli. Very good. Next, I picked up, I really jumped on this train. You know, the one thing I love about Goodwill is they always have books on how to fly a plane, which I did not grab any of those books. However, they were like $2 haulers, how to fly a corporate commercial plane. I was like, what? I should have got that. It was just kind of heavy, and I was like, you know, my back was already like, didn't want to break myself in two for them $2 haulers. So yeah, just side note, if you guys are ever looking to learn how to fly a plane, which I'm still looking to do that. I started that back in 2019, right before the pandemic, and after, you know, the pandemic, of course, we all understand 6 feet. So you can't be like 2 feet next to your flight instructor. Anywho, guys, I need to do that in my life. Still would like to do that. So if anyone else is liking to do that too, you can actually get every single flight book under the sun at your local Goodwill. But the thing is too, I mean, flight is changing. It should have already been changed. I mean, I do find that it's still good to probably consume that, even though it's going to be outdated, because technically our good old ET friends, they're not using these flight books. They've got different type of electronics, technology, what have you, that are not flying by these old vector, this and that, fuselage. There ain't no fuselage. It's a disc. The whole thing's a fuselage. Anywho, I digress. Basically what I'm saying is the material's outdated, but I feel like it's still kind of cool that you can literally learn how to fly a commercial plane, a jet, essentially, at your local Goodwill. Now, that's not the book I picked up, though. I'm thinking about it heavy. It was a $2 hauler. Anywho, I picked up the Electric Circuits textbook instead. Yes, they have many textbooks. I picked up this one. Now, why did I do that? Because I'm extremely interested in anything that has to do with like Tesla. Yeah, the nexus of technology and our bodies. Obviously, this is more just the technology side of things, but electric currents. I'm just so interested in this plus magnetism. This is less magnetism, right? But of course, this will be a good, nice introduction. Not an easy read, but still a nice introduction into electric currents and circuits. So there are a few other books there too about different superconductors and stuff, and I was like, shoot, another $2 hauler, but it's kind of heavy, you know. Like, I was already kind of holding a lot of books, and I was just like, maybe I should, you know, it's kind of lazy, I guess, but this one's heavy. Like, she thicky. I mean, don't let it fool you. These textbooks, right? Yeah. So, on to the next. Yeah, they had the Lord of the Rings, but they didn't have the first one. They didn't have the first one, guys. So I'm about halfway through The Hobbit, which is technically the first book. It's the prelude to all the rest of the trilogy here. They had book number 2 and book number 3. Book number 2 is The Two Towers. Book number 3 is The Return of the King. So, yeah. Unfortunately, the one that I need still is The Fellowship of the Ring. That is part 1. So yeah, I'll have to go find that, but at least I have 3 of 4. Anywho, yeah, so that is my book haul. Bookaholic. Book vibes. I'm very much excited for these reads, and I'll keep you guys informed. I do have my Amazon link to my Amazon book front. Link is in bio if y'all want that. I might add some more books onto there. As of right meow, I have a lot of books from Dolores Cannon and some other spiritual reads that are very much so good if y'all are interested. But yeah. And that is my book haul. So I hope you guys enjoyed. I'll talk to you soon. Bye.